Make more of the dies in your craft collection by employing this partial die cutting technique, which we're exploring in this video tutorial. Here we'll be looking at how to create this birthday wording on the side of the card using partial die cutting, and these heart apertures in your card. Let's see just how easy this technique is to get to grips with. We're starting with a white Z-fold card, and then we've got a piece of card that is the same width as the Z-fold card. And we're going to arrange these dies along the edge of it. You can see you want to space them out so that the die cuts are going to sit nicely along the same length of your card. And we're placing them so that they're sitting just off the edge of the card here. And then we're going to tape them into place. Now the whole thing with partial die cutting is that we don't want the whole of the die to cut. We just want to cut the letters sticking out over the top like here. So if I line this up along the edge of the large panel on my Z-fold card, I'm going to stick it down in place. Let's just adjust that Y because it's not sitting quite the way we want it to on the card. So I'm then attaching this panel onto my Z-fold card blank, and let's set it up on our embossing plates. You want to have it so that the bottom of the letters, the sort of bit that comes off the bottom of the card where you put your tape on there, is sitting off the edge of the plates. So I'm going to stick that on with a bit of washi just to hold it in place. Now we're going to run that through the die cutting machine a couple of times. These dies that we're using here are from My Favourite Things. They are little letters lowercase alphabet dies. And the card that we're working on here, that we're making, was designed for Papercraft Inspirations by Vicky Bailey. So I'm going to run the die plates through the die cutting machine a few times. Let's make sure that we've got a nice clean cut on our card. So then if I start lifting the dies off, you can see the way it's cut through here. So the outline of the letters at the top is very, very clear and cut out. But where they were sitting off the plate, the bit we had hanging off the bottom of the die cutting plates, it's not cut. So we're left with a partial die cut. And I mean, we've engineered that, but it does mean now, because it's only partially cut out and the bottom of the letters are still attached, you need to go back and trim off the waste bits of card between the letters. Where there's only a small gap between the letters, I just do this freehand, but when you've got a larger gap, it's a good idea to use your metal ruler and a cutting knife to just make sure you're going to get a nice clean line between the letters on your partial die cuts. So let's trim those off, and you can see the great effect we've got there and how easy it was to achieve with just a little clever arranging of dies and your die cutting machine plates. We're going to use the same technique to create a couple of heart apertures in the Z-fold section of our card. So I've stuck this heart die across the Z-fold, and I've got it to the point where it's totally straddling across the fold line. And now I'm putting my plate so that is running across the fold line too. So the half of the die is sitting off from the bottom of the plate. And you can see it protruding here from the bottom of the die cutting machine plates when I'm running this through my die cutting machine a few times. And this will mean that only the half on the plates will have cut. So if we take it off, you can see there one half cut, the other half completely fine. And you can, if you want, run this through the embossing plates now to give yourself a heart outline on the other side. And if you move it along, run it all the way through. I'm not going to here. I'm just going to move my die down instead. Again, straddling across that Z-fold line with the other half hanging off the bottom of the plate. Let's run that through a couple of times. And this is going to give me two heart die cuts through my Z-fold, which will then, when the card is stand up, give you a lovely effect of an extra heart aperture on your card. Because we've just used partial die cutting in the same way as before, you need to just go off and trim any extra sections out of the heart. Here there are some sort of little lines going through the detail around the edge, and I want that to come out on the side that's cut. But as it's only partially cut, I'll go back with my craft knife and just make a few little incisions to remove those little extra bits of trimming. So if I take those out there, let's poke out a few bits. You can see they're folded up. It gives you this lovely effect. You can decorate your card now in any way that you like. Vicky has used papers from the Wild Rose Studio watercolour florals. We hope you enjoy having fun with the partial die cutting technique.